Well,
and however this
oh, jeez.
And of course alright.
It is Wednesday, Pardon me. It is Wednesday, May 25th, 2017. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you know what time it is. It's time for some coin metal. Got the new mic today, giving it a shot, giving it a try, seeing how it sounds. You know, I did a little bit of testing earlier, and I seem to like the performance of it. So, you know, you guys all have to tell me in the IRC chat room whether or not you like it. Unfortunately, I actually have to hold the thing, so, you know, because I'm stationed a little bit away from my desk. Anywho, this is our first show back since the epic interview that I had the other day with Soon Rock, better known as Verge Dev, and that episode is up and available for listen on the on my YouTube channel. If you like, you can look it up on Twitter. Just look up #CoinMetal. You can find me also on Facebook and just Google it. You know, I'm all over the place. Frank Dashwood. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about that interview and mostly because I've spent the last 48 hours messing with it. Due to some hardware issues, my levels were all off. So you might have noticed that, you might not. It's cool. Don't care. But I did my best to try and clean it up. You know, try and get it straight so that you can hear me as well as hear Verge Dev. And, you know, we're still hammering things out. You know, we're still relatively low scale. And I kind of like it this way, honestly. I would think there was something really wrong with it if it got, like, overproduced. And next thing you know, I'm like CNN and, like, I'm like Shep or like Bill O'Reilly or something. And next thing you know, you're hearing about me in scandals, like feeling up waitresses and shit like that. But, I mean, not that I do that, because, well, I don't. But, in any case, I do want to go ahead and throw in a little bit of music. Sorry, I'm like so out of it today. I just got out from under a dude over at Jiu-Jitsu, and this guy Robert, he's just very, very good. And I just wanted to give a shout out to him. Robert, you kick ass at Jiu-Jitsu. I know you're proficient at Judo already, man, but you're getting the smoothness with regard to Jiu-Jitsu. Really, really tight game. And I hope I never have to compete against you. Any case, let's go ahead and throw in some new music, some newer music. You know, I actually have enough stuff in here that I can play stuff that is new for us on the show. But it's not necessarily new, you know. And I do intend to be investing more in music. Like I have no ministry in here. I think I actually have one ministry CD, but for whatever reason, this program doesn't find it. And so, you know, it might be that I didn't actually load it. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to find something here that I recently imported. I was recently gifted some stuff, and you know, I really like this song, and we played it on the last show, but I feel the necessity to do it again because I did something really, really interesting this morning, and it was probably a mistake. I'm sure I'll look back on it and laugh at some point, but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a mistake. I haven't checked my inbox since, but I had a really interesting conversation today on Reddit, and I had said something to the effect of, why are you people even, well, you know that bankers are the only people that really want segregated witness, and you're cheerleading for them to take over Bitcoin, basically. And I mean, read my Reddit. That's basically what I've been saying this whole time. I have not called anybody a single name. I have not called anybody a fucking idiot or anything like that. I just stick to the facts because honestly, that's all that's really important to me. I don't give a fuck what you do with your genitalia. I don't give a fuck what music you listen to. What I'm concerned about is being able to transact person to person electronically without the need for a bank, a government, or any other arbitrating third party. That is my interest. And as far as I'm concerned, segregated witness is introducing a third party by default, and eventually that third party is going to be banks. When you listen to the description of the architecture and what they got all planned, really, just do the reading. And if you can't do the reading, go back and listen to some of the shows where I did the reading. At least I put in some entertaining music so you're not completely fucking bored listening to it. Anyway, enough of that. Again, my brain is all scrambled up, just kicked Robert off of me. So anyway, gonna throw in our first dance. It's gonna be Goddamn Trouble by Overkill, here on Coin Metal. Wow. So, apparently I've pissed somebody off. And you know what? I could really give a fuck. I'm sure we'll be able to resolve this at some time or another. Fortunately for us, we can still broadcast live. So I'm going to continue to post the videos, and I'm going to post them elsewhere because apparently YouTube has decided to get butthole about copyrighted content. Now, I'd like y'all to know something about the content that I do produce for this show. I do not make a single fucking dime. Do you understand me here? I do not make any money for what I am doing here. I do this out of an interest for cryptocurrencies and heavy metal, a genre I feel has been much maligned and not received the amount of commercial attention it deserves. And the response for that is this. I've received a interesting little email here from YouTube, and hi Frank Dashwood. Due to a copyright claim, your YouTube video has been blocked in some countries. This means your video is still up on YouTube, but some people in some countries may not be able to watch it. Video title: Coin Metal 5/23/2017, Verge Dev Speaks, copyright content, you gotta believe, which is Anthrax, by the way. And, Anthrax, if it was you that started this, which I strongly doubt, sorry, bro. If I pissed you off by playing your music and exposing it to people that will never have heard it anywhere else, hey, that's what I get for trying to do you a favor, right? So anyway, yeah, check this out. So details on it. I'm reading through here. So Live Undead, yep. Yeah, play match, yeah, okay. Remove song is an option. Yeah, you can bite my ass. I'm not going to do that. Invisible Wounds, Dark Bodies, Fear Factory. Yeah, you too. Monetized by copyright owner. Remove song, file dispute. I might just do that. File a dispute. Unsung, Helmet, Heretic Anthem. Yeah, all these guys. So I just like to. I'm going to pursue this a bit further as far as like the copyright policies and see if there's anything that I can work out so that those poor little Canadians can enjoy the replay value of my work. And I do find it kind of funny, though, that this is the only one that they give a shit about. It must be because it's been viewed more than any of my other videos. And let's check exactly how many views that was, because I'm kind of curious now. Let's see here. YouTube 5/23/2017, my channel. And I'm sorry to make this all about me here. Oh, 23 views. That's all it took. 23 views. Now, I want you guys to know something. I've been posting these videos on YouTube for over 2 years. And this is the first time that I've gotten a copyright notice from these assholes. Now, whether or not that's a reflection of a policy change or just the fact that this video was nothing but a bunch of middle fingers to all of these money-grubbing bankers that have been trying to crouch in on the crypto space. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's certainly entertaining to watch. I mean, but anyway, I wanted to continue on my little soliloquy about my philosophical reasoning behind doing this. Now, sure, Verge has been going up, but I'd like you to take the chart for Verge, and I'd like you to compare it against every other cryptocurrency that's been going through the roof. You'll notice a distinct pattern. They're all relatively similar. Now, of course, Verge has been a little bit better than most because it's a kick-ass project. But that's beside the point. I don't actually sit here and sell the project. If anything, I sit here and sell people's music. I sell fucking views on people's fucking articles that they post on Cointelegraph. You know, fuck all these people, man. You know, it's like, because my motivations are not explicitly monetary, they don't know what to do with it. You know, so we got to ban it. You know, it's giving a whole bunch of free airtime to people that we don't like, that we don't want people to find out about. We don't want people to listen to Anthrax. We don't want people to listen to Annihilator and fucking Venom and all that shit that they missed the first time it came around. But the point being that, you know, I started doing this show specifically because I was deeply enamored by Bitcoin. The idea of being able to move money from one person to another without a third-party intermediary. That is just, it is, I can't really quantify the total value of that to me. Because, I mean, we're living in a digital world, and we're still, in many aspects, our culture is still bound in these 1950 ideologies of limited capacity and limited production growth and limited resources. Resources are between the ears of the human mind, man. I mean, the human brain here. You know, I mean, the human skull, rather. That's where the resource is. You know, that's where you do all the thinking that makes you realize that, yeah, I can utilize that gas in my car and drive it to work. You know, but it wasn't always gas. At one point, it was just some sludge that you'd find pooled up on the surface every once in a while. You know, now we got to dig for it. Actually, now we got to depose legitimate governments and then take theirs that they already dug out of the ground. But that's beside the point. We're not going to go there. Point being that the acquisition of resources only becomes a thing after you realize that something is a resource. I mean, and look around you, man. There's resources everywhere. I'll give you an example. I had been wanting to grow cannabis for quite a while. And I didn't know shit about how to grow cannabis. And nobody ever does when they first start out. I know a lot more now, but, you know, again, I've only been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years. So, you know, you tend to pick up a thing or two after doing something for that long. But anyway, so, you know, I'm broke. I don't have a job. You know, this is back before cryptocurrencies really had any burst out. You know, I'd already been mining, but this is back in like 2010, 2011. And so, you know, I'm looking around me for other ways to facilitate this process of acquiring a clone, putting it in a box with the light, with the nutrients, with the water, with the fan or whatever, and growing cannabis. And my first motivation was to grow starts for other medical people. And so, you know, I figure if I could get the whole cycle going and get some sort of stasis going on in there, that would be my test pad, right? So then the challenge became where to do it and what to do it in. And so, you know, again, I'm very limited resources. I'm out here in the middle of the boonies. But, you know, I do have things like labor. You know, so if I had material, I could apply the labor and make something that would facilitate this whole process. And so, I got this bouncing around in the back of my mind. And one day I'm driving down the road that I live on here, and I'm watching off on the right-hand side, because there's always like deer and fucking raccoons and possums and turkeys and pheasants and all kinds of shit out here that lives out here that you got to watch out for crossing the road, right? And so, I'm just watching my way as I'm going down the road, and I see that somebody had dumped the box spring of a bed on the side of the road, very blatantly. And it's just like, it's very disturbing. It's just like, here's my trash. Oh, look, there's a spot I can throw it. Fuck you. I don't care that other organisms live out here. I'm just going to throw it out here. That really put me off. And it was just kind of bouncing around in the back of my head, this concern for building materials, and then seeing that fucking trash. And, I passed it a couple times, So, like, when I got home, I saw it as I'm watching on the side of the road. And, it started dawning on me, wait a minute, that thing has wood in it. I need wood. What if I were to take it off the side of the road, take it home, strip it apart, take the wood out of it, and use the wood to make my grow box? And it just, that idea kept germinating and coming back to me again and coming back to me again. And every time I pass that fucking box spring, I'm like, I should do it, man. The more that's out here, it's just going to get rained on. It's just going to get trashed, and it's not going to be any good to anybody. Fuck it. I'm going to grab the goddamn thing. I'm going to tear it apart, and I'm going to make that into a grow box. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. I tore it apart. I had just enough, and it was like meant to be or something, right? Because all of the material that I really needed was in that fucking box spring. Now, what made the difference between a box spring deteriorating on the side of the fucking road and a grow box that's now hosting my mother plant? What was the difference? The difference was I saw a resource and I facilitated it and I created something useful with it. Now take a fucking look around you. Is there things you could possibly repurpose that are serving you no purpose right now that could be serving you a positive purpose? Maybe like there's some untended berries out in the backyard or some shit like that you can maybe cultivate a little bit, get some berries out of it, make some jam. It's a possibility. Make some mead. Or not mead, but like wine or something to that effect. But the point being is, what turns raw materials into resources or commodities or things that people want is the human imagination. There are no limits to resources. There's limits to imagination and willingness to properly facilitate things. And personally, I think we're suffering here in crypto from a lack of imagination, because the same people that have been raping the global economy for the last several decades, they have a certain market model, and it requires them to be the only participants. And so deep in their motivations is the drive to eliminate all other competition. And we're starting to see that now in crypto, where these particular people are investing a lot of time in lobbying our representatives, and they're spending a lot of money in lobbying us to write specific changes into cryptocurrencies, such as segregated witness. And you know what? I bet you anything, this YouTube kerfuffle, I'd have gone completely under the fucking radar if the subject matter were, I don't know, macrame. If I did a 3-hour radio show about macrame, I could put all the fucking copyrighted material on it I want. I could take movie segments. I could take shows straight off of fucking TV and put it over copyrighted music all fucking day long, and nobody would give a shit. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the greatest change in our economy, or the global economy, that is, in the last century. I mean, because that's about when we were still doing private scripts as a legal part of our everyday lives, was about a century ago. We're coming back to the diffusion period. You know, there was a concentration period in England. They came over here, that exploded into a diffusion period. We're back to an accumulation period, coming up to its summit, its peak, its pop, the pimple that needs to be popped, and we're coming back to the diffusion era with cryptocurrencies. Only this one, I happen to believe that by the time things kind of gear down into what we would consider a tenable, like, global economy kind of thing, I'm willing to bet that the constituencies that are the big shareholders and whatnot, none of them are in power right now. And I'm not even talking about just nepotism and people moving up the ladder from being in families and shit. I mean, like, the people that are at the tops of those, they are not going to be from certain families that have been, you know, moved along for the last 2 centuries or so. They're not going to be those people anymore, because those people are producing so little value for the amount of monetary wealth that they extract from the global economy that they've become kind of moribund and stitched into this mentality. And it's going to be like the buggy whip thing. You know, it'll be like the automobile revolution, where we shifted from horses and buggies up to cars, and all the fucking horse breeders were fucked. All the people that were doing horse buggy stuff, they were fucked. I mean, to a limited extent, some of them still actually exist, but the market for them is much more finite. I happen to believe that in the next century, and starting about now, actually I think it started back in 2009, in the next century, we are going to see banks and stock exchanges and all of those types relegated to buggy whip level. But that's just me. Anyway, I want to go ahead and throw in a little bit more music. I could give a rat's ass if the Canadians cannot hear it. Too fucking bad. Sorry, Canada. I hope the rest of you can hear it, because, you know, I play good music. You know, good music that really doesn't get a whole lot of radio play, really never got a lot of radio play, and really deserved a lot more of it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hit back to a little Pantera here. Broken, here on Coin Metal. All right. That's kind of cheese. Does this do any better? Any better? Any better? Wow. That picks up some fucking weird ass patterns. Maybe this is better. Yeah, that's better. I like it. And that was White Zombie with More Human Than Human. Oh, man. So, yeah, I guess I should have expected this, really, to tell you the truth. That some buttfucker would, you know, get their hackles raised up about something that I said. But, you know, I'll tell you where it started. This just goes to show you how should I say it? How immature some of these people really are. That, and I'm sure this is just like a low-level attack at the moment, and that at some point there'll probably be some sort of escalation, like, cease and desist orders or some shit like that. But until then, I'm just going to keep plowing on. Anyway, so I'm on Reddit this morning, and I post something, and I pissed, like, everybody off. I mean, it's like, it's got to be like a fucking talent or something. And what I find funny about it is that I didn't really say anything all that offensive. I said, when are you going to understand that this is happening because we don't want SegWit? That only bankers want SegWit. There are plenty of other coins that do exactly what SegWit is supposed to bring to Bitcoin, and SegWit has been activated on Litecoin, i.e. Bitcoin doesn't need it. Now, that comment currently has negative 83 points. When I saw that, I laughed so hard. I went to the IRC chat room and I typed in, where do I cache these negative Reddit points? I'm mining them right now on Reddit. Mining the negative karma. And it's hilarious because the kind of responses that I'm getting here, they're all like, oh, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, what do you think I've been doing here for the last 2 months? I've been sitting here 3 days a week, 3 hours a day, reading about this shit. You don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Come on now. Or at least have some idea of what I'm talking about. But the kind of responses that I was getting, for the most part, they're pretty narrow. If you look it up on Reddit, I'm there under Frank Dashwood. You'll see. I do not try to insult anybody. I really don't, because my feeling on that is this: like, if I call you a fucking idiot, then what does that make me that I'm arguing with you? I mean, really think about that. It's like, what does it say about you that you're going to argue with somebody that you know is less intelligent than you? I mean, that's like going to the Special Olympics as a fully active or fully capable person and registering in boxing just so you could beat up on people that are less capable than you. But anyway, that seems to me that it seems to me these people aren't really, like, they're not really all that old. I'm imagining the vast majority of them are somewhere between 15 and 21 years old and haven't really learned all of the like etiquette of debate or anything like that. But point being, this is where it all started. And actually, I'm currently at a negative 89 comment karma. And not a single ad hominem attack. Can you believe that? Oh man. Well, it certainly filled my inbox, and I'm not at all worried. The cool thing about having your own media and having all the copies of it is that you can disseminate it elsewhere. And so, YouTube, you want to be like that? Fine. I'll go to VidMe or somewhere else, or Vimeo, or somebody who will be not such a pain in the ass. And will understand that we're in the 21st century, man. This is free fucking airtime. Enjoy it. Don't give me any shit. I'm trying to blow you up. Stay the fuck out of my way. Come on now. Anyway, that was the beginning of my day. And I don't know. There's never a day since I've gotten into cryptocurrencies that something interesting hasn't happened. I mean, and when I say interesting, just kind of extraordinary for my life anyway, or at least how it's been. And I gotta say, another big influence like that for me has been jiu-jitsu. I mean, I really question myself a lot more now. I'm really a lot more critical now about what I'm doing and how much, how should I say it, how much effort or pride I take in the work that I'm doing. I find that I'm a lot more disciplined about how I word things, a lot more disciplined about how I'm building my content. I mean, eventually I'd like to make the videos to where they had more visual component to them. I mean, like right now I've just got tags for songs, and I wouldn't mind putting some sort of like if there was a mining pool out there that we dug or whatever, I wouldn't mind putting like links and stuff on there, but we got to resolve this whole copyright bullshit first, because the last thing I want to do is end up in court over trying to give people access to music that they probably never heard before. You know, I mean, that to me is like a gift. You know, it's like, this is shit that I enjoyed when it first came out. You might have missed it. Here, check it out second time around. You might like this. You know, I think that there are a lot of projects that came out in metal that would have been a lot more successful if they had exposure to the correct markets, or if they had been placed in a marketplace where they weren't necessarily expected. You know, that you might have gotten some surprised people saying, gosh, who the fuck are these guys? I mean, nothing excites me more as a lover of music than putting on something that I've never heard before and just getting completely sucked into it, like somebody turned on a fucking electromagnet and filled my head full of iron, man. Just bing! You know, just turned on a big-ass vacuum cleaner and sucked me right into that speaker. You know, that to me is a fantastic experience, and I really want to bring that to people. You know, I want them to hear some shit on here, and maybe it's that crucial moment, you know, where they need that little bit of kick-ass in their life. You know, they're working on the 4th hour of their fucking term paper, it's due tomorrow, and, you know, they got the coin metal playing in the background, and they're listening to me rail, and then all of a sudden this song they've never fucking heard before explodes out of their fucking speakers, gets their heart pumping another 10 to 15 beats a second, and they're fucking on it. And they plow right through that shit. Anyway, as far as cryptocurrency subject matter concerns, of course, we're going to be diving into this fucking UASF bullshit, because I'm dealing with it today on a more personal note with regard to my shit. But anyway, I don't know how deep I'd like to go into that today, but I'm going to start off with this article that I found, and this was on Digital Currency Group. This is on Medium Corporation, medium.com, and this Digital Currency Group, they're available for follow on medium.com. Anyway, here we go. Bitcoin Scaling Agreement at Consensus 2017. May 23rd, 2017. We agreed to immediately support the following parallel upgrades to the Bitcoin protocol, which will be deployed simultaneously and based on the original SegWit 2 megabyte proposal, which we may touch on today too. Activate segregated witness at an 80% threshold, signaling at bit 4. Activate a 2 megabyte hard fork within 6 months. We are also committed to the research and development of technical mechanisms to improve signaling in the Bitcoin community, as well as to put in place communication tools in order to more closely coordinate with ecosystem participants in the design, integration, and deployment of safe solutions that increase Bitcoin capacity. We welcome all companies, miners, developers, and users to join us and help prepare Bitcoin for the future. Raping. The group of signed companies represents a critical mass of the Bitcoin ecosystem. As of May 24th, this group represents 56 companies located in 21 countries, 83.28% of hashing power, 5.1 billion USD monthly in-chain transaction volume, 20.5 million Bitcoin wallets. Separately, as of May 24th, the following companies have committed to provide technical and engineering support to test and support the upgrade software, as well as to assist companies with preparing for the upgrades. Abra, the BitClub Network, Bitcoin.com, Bitfury, BitGo, Bitmain, BitPay, Blockchain, Block, BTCC, Circle, Ledger, RSK Labs, and Zappo. That's kind of weird. Didn't Circle and Zappo stop doing Bitcoin transactions? I don't know. I'm not going to go into that right now. If you wish to dedicate technical and engineering support from your team, please let us know and we will include you in the list above. Supporters as of May 24th. OneHash, China. Abra, United States. ANX, Hong Kong. Bitangle.com. I'm not going to go through this whole fucking list. Fuck these people. Oh, wait a minute. Ripio? Oh, okay. I thought I could have sworn for a moment that I saw Ripple, but that's not it. And BitGo was erroneous included in the initial public list. This has since been corrected. Good for you, BitGo, for backing the fuck out. Oh, F2 Pool is in here. Let's see. Coins.ph, Philippines. Oh, Canada. Decentral. I wonder if they're the assholes that reported me. And a bunch of Chinese companies, some Japanese companies, Argentina, Bitex. Bitcoin.com. Gosh, I wonder who that is. Roger Ver. You know, there are like 3 different things on here that he's involved in. Like Bitcoin.com is him. I think Blockchain is him too. And there's like one or here Blockchain. That's he's involved in that shit. It seemed to me like he was involved in 1 or 2 others of these. And yeah, whatever. You know, the thing that Satoshi Satoshi never said. At some point, we're going to put all of this in the hands of just really rich people, and everybody else is just going to be subject to them. You know, if that were his perspective when he launched this, he would have left it as a closed source project. He would have made it freeware at first, and then later, like, you know, shareware or registerware or some shit like that. Point being that it wouldn't have been explicitly open source. And you know what? We may do that on Friday, you know, and I don't know that I may even do it today, reading the Bitcoin white paper. I think we need a reminder, especially in this recent tenor with this BIP 148 bullshit. Oi, I'm 5 bitches. Yeah. And can you guys hear me? I'm wondering. I mean, I'm seeing registers all over my desktop here, so it's looking like I'm being heard, but of course nobody's actually talking about what I'm talking about in the IRC chat room, so not entirely certain what's going on there. In any case, this next one I've got here, and this one is on keeping stock. This is written by M. Pat C. And this is on May 21st. Approximately a 3-minute read. Well, M. Pat C., whoever you are, let's go ahead and read this thing. BIP 148 is a non-starter and ham-handedly redefines what Bitcoin is, Part 1. And I will start off by saying this guy also does a Part 2 where he somehow justifies the whole migration to segregated witness because he really doesn't give a fuck about it or something. We may or may not read that too. Anyway, let's go ahead and read this thing. This article is a response to core dev Luke Jr.'s recent article, BIP 148, and the risks it entails. I might actually read that one instead. His proposal is revolutionary, although not in a positive way. Since 2009, Bitcoin has gotten taller or pushed ahead thanks to the efforts of greedy miners. When Bitcoin started, anyone with a halfway decent computer could solve a puzzle, specifically a double SHA-256 puzzle, to get a reward. Every 10 minutes, there's a new puzzle with a new reward. Very early on in this process, people started building ASICs, basically computers that could solve these puzzles. And ASICs stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuitry. Behind this greed has always lied the security of Bitcoin. As a student of economics, I know that systems, be they methods of distributing bread or distributing blockchain networks, live and die due to the incentives that underlie them. This is why breadlines in communist countries have... Motherfucker. It's have been, not has been. Have been proven to be less than optimal distribution method. Supply often can't meet demand, but where people are free to bake and sell bread freely, there always seems to be enough bread available. And that's because they adjust their prices according to their available market. They do things like raise their own chickens so they don't have to buy eggs and shit like that. Anyway, any market depends on greed. No, it just depends on demand. As the demand for bread goes up, more people are greedily willing to go out and bake bread. If the price of bread goes high enough, doctors, lawyers, and fund managers will all take time out of their busy day to bake bread because they know they can make money to support doing things they love. The same thing happens with Bitcoin. Tomorrow is Bitcoin Pizza Day, when the first documented economic use of Bitcoin occurred, and a user in one country traded 10,000 Bitcoins for a pizza he purchased using his credit card for a person in another country. At that time, Bitcoin was valued at less than 1 cent, and there were no ASICs for Bitcoin. People used their computers inefficiently, using their GPUs to try and figure out the puzzle. As the demand for Bitcoin grew, people tried coming up with new ways to solve the puzzle faster. And that's how the world got Bitcoin ASICs. People were not motivated by altruism to do this. Just like someone who opens a hamburger shop, people built ASICs in the hopes of making money. BIP 148 changes all of this by taking power away from the miners and handing to a vaguely defined node operators. Node operators are essentially the same as miners, but they do choose not to do any work, instead only relaying messages on the Bitcoin network. The cost of setting up and maintaining a node, while non-zero, is orders of magnitude less than setting up a mining operation, and more importantly, there is no accurate way to prove work. By solving that puzzle, miners proved they used intense computing resources and burned electricity to solve it. There is no corollary with setting up a full node. In addition, non-mining nodes only contribute trivially to the security of the network. The ostensible reason for this change is due to an ill-defined tyranny of the miners. In fact, the Bitcoin Core Slack channel has a room dedicated to trolling major miners who are understandably against this shift, filled with insults and ad hominem attacks, but this is a false narrative, akin to calling market for bread a tyranny of bakers. Just because the world needs bread, it doesn't follow that we should force the bakers to do things they don't want. And just because the world needs Bitcoin, it doesn't mean we should try to force the miners to do what they don't want. If one needs proof of why this bad to force businesses to do things they don't want, one only needs to travel to Venezuela and try to buy toilet paper. Economic systems that rely on coercion do not have very good track record in modern history. Coercion hasn't been a good model, at least since the abolition of slavery, and most would agree that's a good thing. Since miners are now effectively blackballed from the Bitcoin core development pipeline, urgent action will soon be needed. In my next article, I outline what I think needs to be done to prevent this dangerous realignment of incentives. Well, empathic, you don't read your shit aloud, that's clear. And I think you're slightly off with regard to your ideas concerning motivation. I mean, like, everybody needs bread. I mean, well, not necessarily bread, but everybody needs food. And when it comes down to it, bread is one of the cheaper forms of food. And so it has a pretty broad appeal. That's why it's good to sell bread. Anyway, moving forward, or how I learned to stop worrying and love BIP bomb, the BIP 148 bomb. This is part 2 of Empathic's article. And I'm going to read it, and then we'll touch back onto some music, and then we'll move on to something else, maybe. Anyway, here we go. Moving forward, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the BIP 148 bomb, part 2. In part 1, I explained what I see as huge flaws in the incentive shift that is BIP 148. Here I will talk about next steps, or what should be done to maximize the value. You son of a bitch. Left out the word "the." Done to maximize value of Bitcoin. It's maximize the value of Bitcoin. Duh. Anyway. To understand why all this is happening, one must first consider the block size issues that are taking place now. To make a long story short, Bitcoin can handle approximately 3 to 5 transactions per second, which is bullshit, it's actually 7, which fill up a 1 megabyte block every 10 minutes. This max block size equals, 1 million, was added as a temporary spam measure, but now has become a lightning rod in the Bitcoin community. Until recently, this transaction limit was never approached with regularity, but these days it is constantly full. As the block space becomes congested, the fees required to send a transaction rise. That's actually bullshit. There's a bunch of coercion going on because the miners haven't been able to make enough on Bitcoin, and so they fucked everything around to where they're making their money back on transaction fees instead. And that's created all kinds of incentive bullshit, like mining blank blocks just to get the fucking reward, and that's causing backups in the memory pool, and that's been simulating the idea that we're congested, when in fact we're not really congested. It's just there's a bunch of people fucking with the network instead of playing the game according to the rules. But that's because they're not playing according to the rules in the economic sense, in that traders should be trading Bitcoin for a hell of a lot higher than $2,500. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to this article. Let's see here. Until recently, the transaction limit was never approached with regularity, but these days it is constantly full. As the block space becomes congested, the fees required to send a transaction rise. There are many use cases for Bitcoin. These range from the bad, Silk Road and ransomware, the good, encoding immutable data to the blockchain, to the world-changing, allowing people to exchange value without central banks. As fees rise, each single Satoshi erases a use case for Bitcoin. Change tip bots that allowed forum users to tip posts they like can no longer operate on chain. For example, another powerful use of Bitcoin is remittance. Until recently, Filipino workers living abroad could use Bitcoin to avoid bank fees when they sent money home. But now, doing this on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain, is becoming more cost prohibitive. It's cheaper just to use the banks. And in a side note, just to let you know, because this monkey apparently isn't pointing it out, there are 2,000 altcoins out there, many of which operate better than Bitcoin because, unlike Bitcoin, they don't have full blocks. Their transaction volume is much lower, and their fees are much lower as well. It makes just as much sense to transact using one of those, getting a Bittrex account, selling it for Bitcoin really quick. Even if you're selling it for retail, you're going to be making money by holding it in Bitcoin for a short duration of time and then possibly cashing it out as fiat or just backing a fucking credit card or something else with it. Or finding somebody that will allow you to transact with them in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. Either way, this guy set up a false dichotomy by not pointing out that Bitcoin is not alone as far as cryptocurrencies go, and there are a lot of other cheaper ways to transact monetary value from person to person electronically without a bank or third-party arbitrator. So, let's continue on with this article. People on both sides of the BIP 148 could probably agree with much of what I wrote above. Use cases are getting strangled and something needs to be done. Many of us had been warning about this for a long time and suggesting a simple solution. Raise the block size from 1 million bytes, 1 megabyte. Instead, the core developers have chosen a different path, with segregated witness, and regardless of what everybody else wants, the merits of which I will not argue here, because there aren't any. Miners and many others have been skeptical of this, that only a minority of Bitcoin nodes support it. That's the truth. BIP 148 is basically a game of chicken a group of developers are playing with the miners. Do what we want or else. From the developer's perspective, Bitcoin is all they do. They have just as much skin in the game as anyone else, right? No. A conservative back-of-the-envelope calculation tells us that at least $640 million has been spent on mining hardware alone, probably none of which was done by developers or anybody else cheerleading BIP 148, by the way. So, however much skin the core developers have in the game, it is clear they haven't invested nearly this much themselves into the Bitcoin network. That's not counting real estate, electricity, maintenance, and R&D costs developers face, or bandwidth. No one with this much skin in the game is going to go down without a struggle. Actually, they're not going to go down, period. They'll either continue doing what they're doing on the Bitcoin network, or they'll go to one of the 2,000 other altcoins out there and just mine one of those instead. Anyway, let's continue. As miners look to move forward from this block size war, there are two broad areas of consideration: tactics and long-term strategy. Tactics refer to the things miners will need to do short-term to make sure the BIP 148 chain dies a quick and painless death. Strategy refers to maintaining and updating the consensus code after the split, meaning continuing to change the consensus so that the miners can't get their blocks put back on the network again. I'm pretty sure that right there is how they intend to keep it to where segregated witness is on there, because a lot of people really underplay this, but one of the changes in segregated witness is that it moves the mining protocol voting over to users. Users, not miners. Okay, not even just vendors. Users. Okay, so now check this out. It also reduces the consensus threshold. And they've already reduced the consensus threshold on this one to 80% from 95% because they know there's no fucking way in hell they're ever going to get 95%. But that's the threshold that everybody's been playing by, and they're trying to circumvent it by creating a bullshit constituency of nodes that is temporary. You know, if you talk to any of these monkeys that are talking about doing 148, doing UASF, You know what they don't tell you? They don't tell you how long they're going to do it. See, they think they're just going to keep it going long enough to get segregated witness put through. Okay, well, now that you've done that, now what? See, because this guy just talked about it, the strategy for keeping the changes that you've made on the network, to keep the network from splitting again and kicking you back off of it. Okay? That's what you'll need to do. And if you're not doing it, somebody else needs to do it. Because otherwise, the miners are going to overtake the network again, and they're going to kick that SegWit shit back off of the chain. That's what he's talking about with regard to strategy. So anyway, let us continue. The remainder of this article will deal with strategy. Tactics are beyond the scope of what I'm doing here, and will be the subject of another article. A department team is like any other team. Much like a human being, it can be healthy or sick, depending on its members. Teams can bring out the best or the worst in people. To many outside observers, the core Bitcoin team is broken, and a change is needed. This is clear to the majority of miners who refuse to signal for SegWit, because they don't like it. To protect their investments, miners will need to coalesce around a new team of developers. What I propose is a new development model. Miners should create a market of ideas. Any idea for a change to the consensus code should be voted on. Proposals... God, Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, when the fuck did you discover Bitcoin? That's exactly how it's supposed to work. Oh, man. I could submit a fucking BIP. You can submit a BIP. Anybody can submit a BIP to the fucking GitHub repo. Whether or not the miners ever adopt it or whatever, that is their decision. And I'm just going to say this now. This guy isn't doing us any favors with his memetics. Okay, because he's not including any of that in the language that he's using here. Not even the inference of it. Anyway, continuing on. To protect their investments, miners will need to coalesce around a new team of developers. What I propose is a new development model. Miners should create a market of ideas. Any idea for change to the consensus code should be voted on. Proposals that are supported by a majority would then reach a second vote. How much of a bounty should the network pay for the change? Miners would vote for a percentage from 0 to 1 that should be paid to the dev that writes the change. Then developers or groups of developers could bid for the bounty, and a third vote would take place to select the developer to author the change. Once the change activates, the author of the change would receive a percentage of the block reward for the following 100 blocks, inclusive of fees. Dude, you're fucking high. This would help the currently broken supply of wanted code meet the demand. Code to meet the demand, you bum. I consider it to be an imperfect solution until a system of voting for Bitcoin holders is developed. No. You're a holder of fucking Federal Reserve notes. How much control do you have over the Federal Reserve policy? That's about how much control you, as a holder of Bitcoin, should have over Bitcoin policy. Anyway, continuing. This could easily be developed by allowing UTXO holders to sign messages following a predetermined set of rules. Future protocol improvements could even allow UTXO holders to sign transactions that would be valid if and only if an improvement they support activates before a particular block. Whatever the miners do, and they will do something to stop BIP 148 to be sure. No, they won't. Some of them are actually championing that shit. Let's hope that it enables the creation of an open, transparent, and above all, healthy development team. Not because of altruism, but greed. The value of Bitcoin can only rise as people become more confident in it. and I want my Bitcoin to be worth more tomorrow than it was yesterday. He just told you his entire motivation for this, for championing the BIP 148. He wants his Bitcoin to be worth more tomorrow than it was yesterday. Proving that he doesn't even understand the basic value principles behind Bitcoin. Because as we all know, there are only 21 million of them ever going to be mined. And what that means for us is that for every 10-minute block that gets mined, there are that many fewer Bitcoin for us to compete for in the future. So that guarantees that they will raise in relative value over time. This whole fucking... It drives me nuts because these people, they're not reading the white papers on this shit. If they had even the understanding of what they were reading, they would not be proposing this. You know, if they read the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper and understood it, they would not be going for BIP 148. They would not think that's a wonderful idea. Anyway, we're done with that shit. And I want to get back into some music because I'm feeling the need. And I already played some Nin, so I don't want to play that right now. But, you know, I haven't played this song in a while. And this is generally how I feel about a lot of what I'm hearing in the Bitcoin world these days. Prong, beg to differ, here on Coin Metal. And that was Legia by Annihilator. And that's a very... I don't know if they're still touring or anything like that. You know, sometimes I hear some stuff about them. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they're still active or anything like that. But that was one of those bands that they never really got a really massive following, I don't think. I think they had some limited success back in the 80s, but I attribute that to the fact that they've been with Roadrunner, or I think if they're still around, they're still with Roadrunner Records, I believe. Any case, Roadrunner didn't have the same kind of distribution channels as like Capitol Records or anybody like that, and so you know that hindered a lot of bands that had to go that route to get any kind of distribution. And if you look back to Metallica's day, they got signed. I think it was either Megaforce, which is like a subsidiary of Capitol. There was another one that they had signed up with. Metal Blade. I want to say it was Metal Blade Records. But there's a few smaller record companies that have, for some strange reason, have managed to stay afloat in all of this transition with regard to the who controls what media and all that business. And Nuclear Blast, I can only attribute their continued success to the fact that they signed a lot of people. I mean, you know, if you look at the number of different artists that they support, it's actually pretty amazing that metal has such a distribution venue. Of course, it's gotten a lot easier for them, you know, as far as like the distribution is concerned, just because it's mostly digital now. You know, I mean, there's still people buying CDs and shit, but for the most part, it's gone digital. You know, it's a lot easier to steal that stuff on the internet that way. But I don't really see that that the quote unquote thievery is going to end anytime soon. I think if anything, it'll probably get worse. Only because it's a response, you know, just like Bitcoin. My apologies. You're gonna have to forgive that. It was a minor technical issue there. Apparently, my recorder had stopped recording for just a brief moment, but we do pick up directly off after this. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in a real short song here. And this wasn't actually broadcast, this section anyway. And then it will pick up right where we left off. Apparently, I didn't lose much more than a couple minutes, so we're all good. I'm going to record a new one. Oh, yeah, that's no problem. Ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. I don't know why it wasn't actually showing that it was recording on the other stream, but managed to resolve it. Up and beyond. That's how we do things here on Coin Metal. Any case, we are going to drop back down into this whole SegWit business a little more because, well, you know what? I'm not done with it. You know? I think that the resistance that I'm receiving so far is a signal. It's a signal that I'm heading in the right direction and I need to keep plowing on because these people are clearly threatened by what I'm saying. That's the reason why you try and silence people or make it to where people can't hear you. If you fear what they are saying, that's what you do. Anyway, let's see what else they have to say about this proposed coup of the Bitcoin network. And this one is on We Use Coins. And I would like to take a moment just to indicate to you all that are out there that will listen to this or hear this at some point. If you are supporting this movement, this coup, don't be surprised if after your bullshit runs somebody's network, potentially the Bitcoin network, into the ground or fucks it up irrevocably. Do not be surprised if the rest of the planet hates your fucking guts. Sorry. It's a reaction. That's what happens when you fuck up a game for everybody else. They get unhappy about it. Anyway, continuing on. This thing, BIP, I just wanted to check and verify on one little hardware thing here. BIP 148, the beginner's guide to a user-activated soft fork. And I'd like to also point out, I call it user-assisted suicide fork. I'm pretty sure that's what ended up getting it banned on YouTube for the Canadians, at least. I posted it I posted 5/23/2007, the last Coin Metal I did. I posted that on Twitter, and I said, depressed, contemplating user-assisted suicide fork, fall in love with everything crypto all over again with me and Verge Dev. And let me tell you, man, that was a lot of crypto love that night, man. I listened to it again, even though I was there the first time, even though I spent 5 hours listening to every fucking bit of it as I edited it. I still went back and listened to it again just to see how it sounded, and it came out good. It came out really, really good, and I'm very happy with the way that the work came out, and I hope that other people enjoy it as well. And unfortunately, sorry Canada, somebody is a fucking pussy out there. Anyway, continuing on. In a few months, beginning 1st August 2017, there may be some turbulence ahead for the Bitcoin network. To help you protect your money, this guide will be frequently updated with the latest developments. Share this guide with your friends by directing them to uasfguide.com. No, we won't. Anyway, continuing. What is BIP 148 other than a software coup? Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 148 is a user-activated soft fork that requires that miners signal for segregated witness. Segregated witness readiness is signaled by miners by setting the version number of blocks mined. Signaling this bit does not mean miners support SegWit, but it is a signal for readiness that miners are ready to enforce the rules. Miners are still allowed to mine blocks that do not support SegWit, for now, and are only required to not mine non-standard blocks that spend SegWit transactions, along with not building on top of blocks that do this. Beginning 1st August 2017, nodes that enforce BIP 148 will reject any block from miners that do not signal segregated witness readiness, along with any block that is built on top of that block that does not signal support. Hard fork versus soft fork. Bitcoin Core developer Eric Lombrazzo can help you understand the differences between a hard fork and a soft fork. Many people do not fully understand the difference between hard forks and soft forks and the implications for network and ecosystem. Hard forks is a permanent divergence in the blockchain. Commonly occurs when non-upgraded nodes can't validate blocks created by upgraded nodes that follow newer consensus rules. Soft forks are a temporary divergence in the blockchain caused by non-upgraded nodes not following new consensus rules. That's interesting. I'll have to read that again or something. Why BIP 148? I could tell you why. It's because they've had two years to implement segregated witness, and they have not yet. Anyway, continuing. Why BIP 148? This guide is about helping you protect your money by providing objective, actionable things to do as a result of BIP 148, and not delving into the political, economic, or other reasons. Because then you wouldn't fucking do it. If you want a quick background and reasoning, then this piece by the extremely respected open source Linux kernel developer Rusty Russell, who has been working on the Lightning node, should hit the spot. And I may actually read that one today too, because I don't like Lightning Network. At least not the material I've read about it so far. Current BIP 148 support. What really matters in a UASF situation is which chain the economic actors like users, institutions, exchanges, payment processors, etc. support. There is no easy way to qualify this with a decentralized peer-to-peer network. This graph represents the total number of full nodes currently signaling BIP 148, and apparently they're close to 700 according to this graph. And let's see, it doesn't actually give us a date. It doesn't give us any dates. It just says weeks. That could be so fucking arbitrary. Anyway, and the graph represents a percentage of total number of full nodes currently signaling BIP. Okay, wait a minute now. What's the difference? Currently signaling and total number of full nodes currently. Okay, different. No? Represents the total number of full nodes. What the fuck is the difference? Percentage of nodes. Oh, this is just the percentage of it. Okay. Currently, according to this, they're at week 10, they're at about, or I'm sorry, at week 20, they're at 10%. What the fuck? They're only at 10%? I'm going to have to check that out too. I'm going to see if there's a current graph that represents the percentage of total number of nodes that are currently signaling support for BIP 148. Because if this graph is actually current or close to it, they've only got 10% of the full nodes. So why they they think they're going to come up with 70% additional nodes between now and then, and between now and August 1st? I don't think that's going to happen. Not unless the bankers are like, buying warehouses and filling them up full of fucking full nodes, which they probably are. I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, maybe they'll wait until like August, or what is it, July 30th or 31st. I don't know how many days are in July, but, wait till the last day of July and then, fire up all these fucking nodes like at 11:55 p.m. or 11:50 p.m. or whatever, depending on what the minute offset is for the 10-minute block confirmations. But point being that, they set it up like one block before and just like, turn on several thousand nodes, Anyway, yeah, looking at this, their current, according to this, they've got UASF nodes, they've got 9.99% of full nodes are running BIP 148 support. Like I said, where they're going to come up with the additional 70% because they lowered the threshold. How they managed to do that, I have no fucking idea. Really, since when can the core developers just come along and say, the threshold is now 80% of the network to change the consensus protocol? Or change the consensus rules, rather. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, let's just bait and switch shit, just change shit until we get what we want, and then we'll worry about cleaning it up later. That's the approach that's been taken on Syscoin and Gridcoin and Litecoin so far. And I'll be really disappointed if it does happen on Bitcoin. But anyway, continuing. What could happen on August 1st, 2017? If miners activate segregated witness prior to 1st August 2017, then BIP 148 will not be enforced. All users of Bitcoin will remain on the same chain no matter what client they use. If miners do not activate SegWit, then there may be a chain split. A chain split will mean some users will see a different set of transactions than others. If the majority of miners enforce BIP 148, then these chain splits will be temporary and eventually all clients will see the same chain and SegWit will activate for all SegWit compatible clients. If the majority of miners do not enforce BIP 148, users that do enforce BIP 148 will diverge from users that do not enforce it. If the majority of miners do not start enforcing BIP 148 at a later date, then the legacy chain without BIP 148 enforcement may be reorganized once the BIP 148 chain has more work. The users who are running BIP 148 would be undisturbed, but users running legacy clients may see large amounts of history rewritten and could lose funds. Gosh, let's do this thing. Let's put a gun to the head of the fucking miners and say, hey, we're gonna fuck up Bitcoin with our piece of shit Raspberry Pis because you don't want to fuck yourself. Fuck yourself, damn you. Fuck yourself. Do what I want. Bend your penis around, shove it up your own ass, and fuck yourself. Because I think it'll be entertaining to watch. That's what this BIP 148 says to me. How do I prepare for BIP 148 if there is a split? The most important thing you can do is double spin like a motherfucker. You can do is perform your own network consensus by running a full node and creating and storing your own private keys. This will put you in firm control of all decisions related to how you interact instead of having some third party make those decisions for you. Until we've actually fucked up the consensus protocol and a bunch of users that aren't you are going to be redefining the fucking protocol right in front of your fucking eyes and disqualifying all your transactions if they don't like you or if you don't pay the fees that they want you to pay. Fucking dickheads. Anyway, check this out though. You're going to love this. This will put you in full control of all decisions related to how you interact instead of having some third party make those decisions for you. I really want you to think about this for a moment. The miners are having some third party try and make a decision for them right now. So now, let's put this into perspective. These are miners. These are people that have dedicated millions of dollars of electricity and hardware and bandwidth, and I don't give a fuck that they're in China and they're getting no electricity for free, to mining the Bitcoin chain and securing the network. Now, there is some doubt as to whether or not some of them are actually faithfully doing that, but I expect that that is a power dynamic that will in fact change over a longer period of time. But in any case, with regard to what this guy said just now, I mean, basically BIP 148 is a third party trying to create a bullshit constituency to enforce changes on the network that the miners don't want. So this whole bullshit about this is going to put you in full control of your shit, no, it won't. It'll put your shit up to the control of a bunch of fucking assholes that got a lot more money than you, i.e. banks. People that can afford to bribe politicians into making you a criminal. Anyway, continuing on. Additionally, it is unknown how the legacy chain or the BIP 148 chain will be labeled. In other words, they intend to relabel it so you don't know what fucking chain you're actually mining. Additionally, it is unknown how the legacy chain or the BIP labeled. This could lead to significant confusion in the marketplace, so it is important for you to know exactly what you are buying or selling. Wallets supporting BIP 148. A listing of wallets here does not imply any endorsement of the quality or security of the software. Put on your big boy or big girl pants and use at your own risk. And I'm going to read them off because these people are clearly probably assholes. Samurai Wallet, CoinKite, Coinomi, and Green Address. As a hodler, long-term investor. If a chain split occurs, then long-term investors will have equal amounts of coins on both sides of the chain. If a chain split is resolved, then they will have their original balance on the unified chain and need to take no actions. As a Bitcoin trader. As a trader, you will need to find an exchange that supports preferably both the legacy chain and the BIP 148 chain. Traders may have an opportunity to trade coins from one side to another. If exchanges support both chains, then they could sell one and buy the other. If sufficient demand exists on the BIP 148 chain, it may encourage miners to mine on that chain, which could eliminate any split. And I'd like to point out that the way they intend to get over that hurdle is they're going to be promising such high transaction fees that you are not going to be able to transact on the Bitcoin network without them. Investors should exercise caution when trading on the legacy chain, as it may be reorganized without warning. Traders should also exercise caution on the BIP 148 chain, as if interest in it is insufficient, it may not hold long-term value. There's your GR Boo-Foo right there, folks. They're going to get you all on fucking... They're going to get this BIP 148 enlisted. They're going to change the fucking rules on you overnight. You're going to wake up and you're not going to have any funds in your fucking account. Continuing on. This list is ordered by date of an unequivocal public announcement for support of BIP 148. Exchanges supporting BIP 148. A listing of exchanges here does not imply any endorsement of the quality or the security of service. And fortunately, I do not see Bittrex on here, so good. Spending Bitcoins. If you are spending Bitcoins, then you should protect yourself from accidentally spending on both chains. Since many transactions are valid on both chains, the same transaction could be quote-unquote replayed on the other chain, thus making it you spend on the other side as well. Dude, Edit your shit, please, thus making you spend on the other chain as well. Before you send a transaction, you should split your coins and be sure which chain your receiver honors. You can either use a coin splitting service, or you can split your own coins by creating and broadcasting your own transactions on both chains. Or you can just let BIP 148 die a fucking much deserved death. Receiving bitcoins. If you are receiving bitcoins, then you need to pick which side of the chain you honor. Warning, since the legacy chain could be reorganized when you need to evaluate this risk, then you need to evaluate this risk when you receive coins on the legacy chain. The common security practice is to wait at least 6 confirmations before relying on a transaction or block. And I'd like to take a moment just to point out here, that's not going to happen if they put through segregated witness and Lightning Network. You're going to wait 8 days and then 6 confirmations. Assuming, of course, your transaction is even included. And if you read the Lightning Network, the Lightning Network white paper information, there are plenty of opportunities there for them to fuck up your transaction and disqualify it during that 8-day period just through normal operations on the fucking Lightning Node network. Continuing on. Let's see. If there is a chain split, then users should exercise extreme caution and closely monitor the split, along with requiring more confirmations because the security of the chain may be weakened. Or you might actually have to wait 8 fucking days as a standard practice for your transactions to clear. To be extremely safe, we recommend having at least 100 to 200 confirmations before you rely on the transaction or block. What the fuck? I'm going to go from 6 confirmations to 100 to 200 before I can rely on the fucking results? That's fucking ludicrous. That's fucking insane. And I mean, no telling how long those funds are going to be bouncing around on the fucking Lightning Node network. Like I said, that 1,000 block metric, that was just what was indicated in the paperwork. For all we know, it's like 20,000 blocks before they touch back to the Bitcoin network and verify the funds of the transactions that have been bouncing around back and forth between their nodes. And really, who is going to take the time to monitor the shit that closely to make sure there hasn't been a fucking chain split that's just deleted their fucking coins? I don't have that kind of time. You know, I don't have the time to sit there and every 10 minutes fucking check to make sure that the fucking nothing has changed and my transaction is actually going to go through. That's for 8 days for 100 to 200 confirmations. Give me a fucking break. I thought we were trying to make Bitcoin easier to use with this segregated witness bullshit. This completely fucks it up. Anyway, continuing on. Storing Bitcoins with third parties. We highly recommend you contact any third parties to determine whether they will be supporting the legacy chain, BIP 148, or both. Be sure to get any commitments in writing so that, if needed, your lawyer will... Most of us can't afford bankers, much less fucking lawyers. Give me a fucking break. Oh, God. Oh. Be sure to get any commitments in writing. So, God. Oh, God. Oh, sorry. Oh, God. Okay, I can get back to it now. Be sure to get any commitments in writing so that, if needed, your lawyer will have it for any litigation. For example, when something similar happened with Ethereum, there was a significant confusion at Coinbase. If you store your coins with a third party, such as an exchange, then you should understand their policy for which chain they support. Some custodians may only honor one chain, and you may not get the full value of your coins if they only honor on one side. Under the theory of unjust enrichment, significant legal issues could be raised if third parties are acquiring accruing. What the fuck is that? I think this guy meant accruing benefit to themselves that should accrue fucking idiot. Accrue to the benefit of users. The safest plan for storing coins on August 1st, 2017 is to gain control of your coins, operate your own full node, and evaluate your options after a potential chain split. See, what they're really telling you to do there is set up a full node that broadcasts support for BIP 148 and use that to store your transactions on. That's not the safest plan. The safest plan has never changed. Okay? Go out there, look on Google, find you a goddamn key generator, okay? Download it to a thumb drive, hook it up to a non-networked computer that you're running on a live CD session with no network, okay? Do not connect it to the network. Preferably an old used piece of shit that doesn't automatically connect to your network. And, start your live CD session, put the thumb drive in, make a Bitcoin wallet, a paper Bitcoin wallet, put it back on the thumb drive, disconnect the thumb drive, turn off the computer, take out the disk, turn off the computer, okay? So it's never been hooked up to the network, it's never been connected to anything, and you now have a wallet that is so fucking secure a hacker would need to break into your house, beat the crap out of you until they found out where it was, take it from you, and then get somewhere they can spend it or move it without you knowing about it. That's really hard to do. Or move it like while they're there at your house beating you up or some shit like that. But point being that you don't need to run a fucking node to keep your shit safe. There isn't a hacker in the world that can hack a piece of paper. There isn't a hacker in the world that can hack a fucking air-gapped thumb drive that is not hooked to anything. I don't give a fuck how good they think they are. They're not that good. I mean, there's the potential that you're going to download something onto the thumb drive, in transit, or when you hook it up to the internet in order to acquire the key generator. That you could transfer it that way, but that's about it. There's no way for it to report back your private keys unless you connect the damn thing to a network. And you don't even need to do that, I don't think. Maybe to send, but not to receive funds. I mean, you might have to move it out to a wallet in order to send it to somebody, but the other thing to do would be to sell the thumb drive. Just, verify the funds with somebody. Say, yes, there's a wallet on this thumb drive. Here's the public address. That'll verify how much funds are on it. I would like $3,000 for the thumb drive, please. There you go. Didn't transact digitally. Nobody knows who has it. You plug the thumb drive in. You associate it with a wallet that's associated with some bullshit information, and you're golden. No problems. And just so you know, I'm not instructing anybody to defraud anything. I'm instructing people on how to use cryptocurrencies. Because if you want to secure your cryptocurrencies, that's how you fucking secure your cryptocurrencies. Hasn't changed in the last 8 fucking years, is still the most secure way to store your fucking Bitcoin. And these assholes are telling you, you've got to signal support for BIP 148 just to secure your funds. A bunch of fucking assholes. Lying sacks of shit. Continuing on. As a third party, the safest route would be to support both chains. No, it wouldn't. The safest route is to support the original chain and let BIP 148 die. Conclusion. If BIP 148 is successful, then little to no action is needed from most users. However, around August 1st, 2017, users should be cautious, especially when receiving coins. Most users will likely wait until more clear information is available. In other words, most users will wait until it's entirely too late to do anything about it. But yeah, a lot of disinformation, a lot of bullshit, a lot of sparse explanations, and a lot of big question marks. I don't really know too much more than I did before. It's not a good option, and the people that are pushing it are actually being deceptive about the ways that they're pushing it. You know, I mean, and that should tell you everything right there. If they have to lie to you to get you to do it, chances are it's not in your best interest. In any case, I do want to touch down to just a teeny tiny bit of music because that was obscenely long and drawn out, although I didn't do anything to help that situation, but it's not really my job. In any case, this one goes out to BIP 148, Cemetery Gates, here on Coin Metal.